Hi, welcome to the vlog. It's a little kitty just jumping down, but okay. Hi. All right, it's the last little half a week of Magical Readathon. And I've got 2 more books to tell you about that I read this week. This week. I read this one Sunday night, Norway. This is book 1, The Black Bull of Norway. So it winds up that this is let me make sure. This is based on a classic Scottish tale of the same name, which I didn't know that. It's very interesting. So there's this bull that winds up, Sibylla, I guess. Sibylla. I don't know how to say her name, but Sibylla is told as a little girl that she's going to be asked to be wed by a bull. So anyway, she grows up. The bull comes to her house and asks her to come with him, or just tells her to come with him. And then it's really, because it's a little disjointed, they're a little traveling together, but it's really interesting. It's like she doesn't really have anywhere she wants to go or a place to belong, really. And there's like a spooky kind of haunted house that she winds up going to. But yeah, it's definitely a little traveling graphic novel, and it was a good time. I definitely want to read the next one if I find out where it is. But this was by Kit and Kat Seaton. So I know that wasn't a very good discussion of it, but anyway, onward. And here's the result of my annotating. I think I went a little overboard with how short this book is, but it is one of my favorites. So this was a reread. I have my little, so I don't know. I just stuck them there. I might write what they were supposed to be. I don't know. I kind of started with them being kind of meaning a certain thing. Like this is like literary. I like how this sounds. That sort of thing. This is like the mood, or green is kind of like the mood or the I don't know, mood, atmosphere, something like that. And then I got further in and I decided to start doing pink for things that describe the biologist, which is the main character. Yeah, so, and I think I like underlining better than where I started. I had these gel highlighters. I think I wound up liking underlining best, but I continued throughout all of it doing both. And then I started doing my favorite parts in blue, which I really love the parts that are written. If you know anything about this book, there's some things written in a spot that I really love. Where lies the strangling fruit that came from the hand of the sinner, I shall bring forth the seeds of the dead to share with the worms that... Yeah, so throughout the book, there's those types of bits that I did in blue. Anyway, so it was a fun experience. I don't know if I would do this, you know, again, really, but it was fun. I'm glad I did it. I had planned to do the other 2 in this series, but I don't know if I will or not. This is my favorite one. The cover. This is my favorite of the series, like, to read, but this is my favorite cover. These 2 were both I bought online. They're discarded from libraries, random libraries. So they have like library stuff on them, but isn't this cool? Anyway, so yeah, I'll take you to the other view to talk about it a little bit. But yeah, that was my annotating adventure. Annihilation is about Area X and a government team being sent in to investigate Area X, which is a place that they don't really understand or know about, and this is the 12th this is the tale of the 12th expedition going in. So most of the other expeditions have not made it back out. Some information has been found from some of them. The 11th expedition, some people did make it back out, and so there was, you know, more information. And this is from the point of view of the biologists. You're not supposed to take your name into Area X. Anyway, so this is her saying what she goes through during that. And that was my spells, I think. Something like that. It was the annotation prompt. So that was my dignified. So that was 54 and 55 books. I have 2 more. One is the golden foil, or foil on the cover prompt, and the other one is a sea setting. Yeah, so I've started the sea setting one. I'm reading The Root of Ice and Salt, and it's really good so far. It's about a queer captain, and in the part that I'm at, I think they're just picking up Dracula to transport him from somewhere to Rome, I think, or from Rome to somewhere. I think from somewhere to Rome. I don't know. But yeah, this queer captain is very thirsty, I would say. And then after that, I'm going to record my video for Becca and the Books Book-Opalathon that's happening next month. That's going to be my next readathon that I participate in. Hello. Well, I've read 3 more books. The first one that I finished was The Root of Ice. The Root of Ice and Salt by Jose Luis Zarata. This was a vampire horror. Not one of those romantic, misunderstood vampire novels, but a monster. This book had some disturbing sexual imagery, but not so terrible as to be like stomach turning. I was actually more interested in the foreword and notes at the end about the author writing this in Mexico in a time when like sci-fi and horror wasn't being published by Mexican people, and it being a queer book in the 1980s, I think it was. Again, like it was kind of first of its kind of the time. I think about how isolating it must be to write a book. You know, you have this whole world in your head that no one else knows about at that, you know, when you're especially when you're starting out. And how like doubly isolating it would be to write a genre that people around you won't comprehend at all. It says he was asked something like, why don't you write about reality? I'm paraphrasing that, but wait, what? People write about stuff that's not reality all the time. So it's like, it's craziness to think. I'm glad he persevered and that it was later translated into English so I could read it too. I gave it 3 stars. All right, let's see. Oh, and
it really was cool because it ties into Dracula, which I haven't read Dracula, so all I know is from like movies and things that are about Draculas. But the end note said that it ties into Dracula, and I thought that was really cool the way it did it, because it's the whole journey from Rome to England on a ship. So yeah. All right. And then yesterday, I'm not even sure I started this. Today is Wednesday, the last day of Magical Readathon. And yesterday, G almost gave me heart palpitations when I noticed that there in the Magical Readathon Discord, there was an added quest. But I did a quick Google search and for a mystery manga, and that gave me the last read I needed for every single prompt this month. I read Case Closed by Gosho Ayama. Sadly, this manga has some of my most hated tropes in manga. The one character doesn't get listened to but has all the answers trope. I'm not even sure if these are tropes, but that's how I'm labeling them in this. I'm surprised that you can do anything because you're a girl trope. The constantly hitting characters on the head and giving them like giant goose eggs. I hate that. Just abuse in general, like in a silly way, let's abuse people. Like, no, I don't want to read that. And let's see. And then also someone taking credit for all the good things another character does. You know, I mean, I hate that in real life too. So, you know, I hate all of those things in real life too. So, let's see. The things I liked about this manga were the few chapters where the main character, with the main character before he got transformed, which I went into this blind. I knew it was like a classic, but a classic manga. But I didn't realize he got transformed, and he did that. So he wasn't transformed in the first couple chapters, and I liked that one. The mysteries were ridiculous, but like I think they put they put all the information in it that maybe you could have figured it out. So anyway, if you looked hard enough, I gave it 2 stars. Okay, and so while I was reading both the novella and the manga to finish out, I was also reading, like, you know, putting one down, picking another one up, and switching out. I also read, let me grab it. Where did I put it? Oh no, I turned my laptop off. Okay. Okay, so the last prompt I had of the entire thing was foil on the cover. And I had already decided I wasn't going to read a sad book for foil on the cover. I had my limit for the month of sadness. So I was like, oh, I have these. This has foil on the cover and it's by Disney. Maybe, or it's published by Disney. Maybe this will be a fun time. No, I hated this. This had so much racial stereotypes in the first 4 chapters and like Fatphobia, and I'm just like, I can't. I don't want it. So at least I now know I can get rid of these because I had two books, the first 2 in the series. Yeah, whatever. But anyway, so I went with this, and it's not completely, well, you can't even see it, but it's not completely foil, but it does have this, it's shimmery, just take my word for it. It's a very foil-esque. Mostly void, partially stars. It's the episodes volume 1. Okay, by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. And yeah, I just realized while I was typing up my notes that this is a decade old. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I listened to the podcast that long ago and loved it. I fell off after the point where I went to the live show of Ghost Stories and I had a bad time. Not the fault of the podcast or like the performance or anything, but my depression situation during that time was bad. And I started equating the media I'm ingesting to my bad feelings sometimes. But I'm back to wanting to get back into this podcast because I really loved it. I loved it so much. I traveled from South Carolina to Washington, and I only stayed there for like a day. Like I drove there. So it probably, some of my problem was I was just overtired by the time I went to the like 10 o'clock at night showing. Yeah, it was a bad planning time of my life. Anyway, now that you know my lore backstory, back to this book. Mostly Void, Partially Stars is the first 25 episodes, the transcripts with commentary opening from some of the writers, from some of the creators, and Cecil Baldwin, the voice of Cecil in the podcast. Now, a decade ago, when I first was listening to these, I didn't care about the people who were making it. Like, I didn't care about the artists, I didn't care about knowing the artists of who was making the stuff that I loved. But then, of course, through finding some very bad artists and authors and people, bad people in the world, I realized how important it is to know who's making the stuff that I'm reading. Because even if I still read from the bad authors, I need to know that, if not going in, like right after, because that it should color my perception of what they've made, because there's always things hidden in what people make, like their thoughts and things. Like, they made it, it's their creation, of course it's gonna have a piece of them in it, and I need to know what I'm possibly ingesting, which I was talking about ingesting the media. Like, yeah, I need to know. I need to figure that out. And also, I've started enjoying knowing where my media comes from. So it adds more strings to the web of context. I enjoyed reliving some of my favorite moments in this little desert town where weird things happen, and that's okay. I gave it 5 stars, and glad I ultimately ended the readathon on a high point. So yeah, I finished my big goal of the month, maybe the year, by this point. But I'm officially done with the reading portion of Magical Readathon. Now I'm collecting all the data of all the books I've done in the monthly wrap-up. So that, I'll do a wrap-up video some point for my month. That will probably come next week or the week after that. And as a little treat, let me show you, and not drop my laptop. I got this little guy. I got this little squishmallow octopus. She's so cute. Her name is Veronica, and the tag is why I had to get her. Well, why I couldn't put her back down. I saw her, I loved her, and I'm like, I don't really need any stuffed animals, because I even got rid of most of my stuffed animals when I downsized, minimized, whatever. But let me just read this. If you like adventure, pretzels, and crossing books off your reading list, Veronica is the octopus for you. With a book or two in each tentacle, you can be sure she's on some amazing adventures. I'm like, that is perfect. That's a perfect little buddy. And look at all these little, I love that she has 8 little nubbin legs. Oh, anyway. And her having one in each tentacle. That's perfect. because I read so many books this month. She's a perfect little mascot for now. I'll have her right there. So cute. So I finished my big goal. I'm going to start slowing my reading way down. Slow down to a crawl for September. And try to switch to some larger books. I have some counts and stuff, but most of my longest book was only like 400 pages. And while that's 300, 400 is kind of my wheelhouse anyway, I want to do some larger books. I've got to read, or I want to read The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. So I might do that next month. That's the last one in the first set of trilogy. First trilogy of his. Whew. All right, calm down. Calm down. I still need to roll for Bookopoly-thon by Becca, which I keep putting off. But now I'm done with my big reading. So I plan on rolling 5 times, like Becca did on her TBR video. And then from there, if I have need for more books later in the month, I can roll then. But I'll put a link to the description of Becca and the books. Yeah. And here we are. I've read 58 books. It's Wednesday. But I'm going to go ahead and end this vlog here, this weekly vlog here on Wednesday, and take a few days to decompress from my mad dash to the finish line. Thanks, G, for this awesome readathon, and for those who joined me on this wild journey of reading 58 books in August. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.